How many of people know me from somewhere? Oh, okay, come on. Who doesn't? Who doesn't give a damn one way or the other? Yeah, right, okay, I got the feeling for the group, alrighty. Okay, so my role is to facilitate these conferences. We got 10 sessions. I don't know how many you've booked to come into. Thanks for coming along today. Let's set the scene for what today's about. Firstly, phones off. No, not phones off, phones on to silent. Phones on to silent, because if you want to ask a question, you need to ask it of my phone. So we're not going to have the hand up, I've got a question. Back in 1949, I had a vanguard come in. We don't want those sort of questions. We want questions that are relevant. So if you want a question, send it to my phone. You want to write down my number? Okay, 0418. Women, you can write this number down. 0418 318 799. Okay, so the idea is that you send us a text. I have a look at the text, and if we can get a chance to answer the question, we will. That's how it runs. Now, let me tell you what today's about. Firstly, you've read the promo, and you've decided you want to come here, which is great. That's because you want to find out what's happening in our industry and how we can do things differently and better. We know that our industry, as Stuart just said, is under huge pressure. And that main pressure is from technology. Technology across all facets. It's in the car, it's in the components, it's in how they talk to each other, it's how they talk through the net, it's how our technicians stand around a car and they've got their phone and they Google things. So technology impacts on everything we do. In fact, we don't realise sometimes how much technology is impacting on us. Sometimes there are some things in the background that we can be doing where we can really be using technology to work for us, and we don't necessarily be aware of it. What we've got here this morning is a session to show you how there is some technology available today that works in the back end of the business to help you better in the front end. Because how many of you are workshop owners here in the room, please? Show of hands. Okay, majority of you are workshop owners. So that one of the big things that you've got to concern yourself about, of course, is productivity and getting your dollars for your hours and making sure you charge out. Talking to some guys yesterday, 65%, 70% maybe. Really hard to get it up to 100. How many of you worked in dealers? How many know what dealers do? 100, 110, 120%. Yeah? And we're fighting against that. At what, 120, 30 bucks an hour, we're down to 95 or so an hour. So we're going to be really, really competitive with what we do. And sometimes technology can help us do that. Today, we've got James Mitchell here, today from Workshop Software, working together with the Link, and he'll introduce his cameo performance over here, which is Jamie. And they're going to set the scene for you and give you an idea of what we can do to be more productive by using technology. So would you please welcome James Mitchell from Workshop Software. Come on down, James. Yeah, come on. Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate the intro. Hi, guys. My name's James Mitchell. Look, first up, really appreciate you guys coming along today. I know, we're all running businesses. It's all busy time. To get away from your business and to come to an event like this, first of all, congratulations, because I think it's a really good move for you to do these sorts of things. And I think that to come to events like this and the other sessions that are available today and tomorrow, I think is a really good way of you guys helping your business to grow and helping the industry to grow. And I wanted to touch on today about how to, this industry is a really important industry for us individually, but also this nation, to be quite honest. The dealers, like Colin touched on just a minute ago, are really trying to squeeze out a lot of the workshops out of the market, and they've been very, very competitive in terms of what they're doing in terms of trying to get the service dollar into their dealerships and away from independent workshops. So having seen this over a long period of time, you go back 10, 20 years ago, a dealership didn't really care about servicing, they cared about selling cars, right? They made their money out of cars, they weren't that interested in the service sort of side of things, and nowadays they don't make quite so much money out of cars, they make money out of getting services, or that's a big part of their business. But the beauty of today is that from a technology point of view, Colin, touched on technology and sometimes it can be scary. That could be true, but if you embrace it, I believe that it can be an opportunity for you to really expand and grow your business. Today in small business, there's not been a better opportunity for you guys to embrace the technologies and systems that are available at very easy to implement, and they're very inexpensive today. What going back even 5 years ago might have cost $5,000 costs just a few dollars today. And the technology that you've got today is somewhat better than what you've had in the past. So now you've got a situation where you can compete with dealers. You can take yourself into that realm of being able to do what the dealers have done in the past. And I'm going to touch on a couple of those things today. So first up, I just wanted to talk about the future of technology and where technology is actually going. Okay, so technology today and what it means to your workshop. So let's take this, I want to focus on the customer experience, because I think today our customers are somewhat different to what they were, even going back sort of 5, maybe 10 years ago, certainly is a lot different today. And with what you guys can do from a technology point of view with interacting and communicating with your customers, there's tools and things available for you that is never been seen before and sort of second to none. But also I want to touch on what the customer expectations are today. So I've got a quick little video that I wanted to just show you, because with the customer experience, we're going to think about where we're going in the future and retaining and looking after our customers. So I just wanted to show you this very short video about the customer experience and how it's changing.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
So I wanted to share that with you because I think I know we're not supermarkets, right? But if this is what the customer expectation is when they go shopping, it's about now becoming an experience that the customer engages with, right? They are part of the buying experience, and it's not just paying at the checkout. It's not just paying when they pick up their vehicle, right? It's about the experience of delivery of the vehicle, about how it gets serviced and their interaction with that. And that's where I believe that technology is heading in the future, that the customer is going to have a lot more touches and a lot more involvement in how they deal with you guys and their expectations in terms of dealing with you guys. So with this, and in terms of what this means from a application or an operational sort of point of view, with online technologies, I wanted to touch on what is happening in the small business market generally, but also how this affects the mechanical workshops. So the way that technology is moving today is we're moving from I'm stuck at a computer doing stuff at a computer to actually being able to be on any device, anywhere I want to be, and just go to that device and I'm able to run my business. The other thing that's happening too is that these devices and these applications are now all talking to each other. And I think that this is a really important part of what's happening now and what is going to happen in the future as well with technology, that the likes of say a workshop software talks to an accounting package, all of your different things that you're going to interact with. We've seen that, your shopping experience interacts with your actual banking process as well, that sort of thing. So the benefit of these sorts of things and what's happening is that taking that the step further, a lot of accounting packages, as an example today, are doing things like integrating with banking systems, right? So you can actually have a small business today. Who here does bank feeds in their business? Few? Okay, cool. So for those who don't know about how bank feeds work, what this is basically your accounting package scans your bank whenever, and just goes and gets all your transactions, puts them into your system automatically, right, and just processes them. So what this means is that from a time-saving point of view for you guys, it means that you don't have to do any work in terms of processing things, which is obviously a very cool and very easy way of doing things. There's applications around where you can, for example, take a photo of a receipt, and that photo, it knows what it is, goes and puts it into your accounting package, and puts it in and allocates it to the appropriate accounting, whatever expense that needs to go to. So what we're looking at is we're looking at applications where you've got kind of a lot of things actually work for themselves. So the future of applications in terms of software systems is moving online, and that's how these things are able to talk to each other. And there's a study here from the Economist Intelligence Unit study about the more sophisticated companies, the more set up companies were likely to use cloud-based applications. So if the sophisticated and intelligent companies are doing that, how does that fit for our world and our automotive world? So we'll talk about integrations and what that means for integrating with different things. So technology as well, from a mobile and a Internet of Things. Anybody heard of Internet of Things? Yeah? A lot of people don't sort of wonder what Internet of Things means. What it actually is in very, very simple terms, is things that talk to the internet. So, for example, we talk like things like driverless cars, for example. They are actually got a whole lot of sensors that know where things are going, and they talk to the internet, and they talk by devices. We will have, for example, fridges in the future that will tell you how much milk you've got left, to a milliliter, right? How many slices of bread I've got left, because you've got sensors in there. In this room, there could be all sorts of sensors on these seats knowing, are you fidgeting? Are you hot? Did you move? Those sorts of things. This is the Internet of Things. There's going to be, I think I've got a slide there about the number connected to the internet will exceed the number of people on Earth by 7 times over. So all of these devices are going to be able to talk to each other and talk to things, and we'll be able to talk to hardware, essentially. So this is where the future is going, and what and how technology is evolving, and what our future is looking like. So I just wanted to give you a very short sort of window picture into the future, but let's come back to where we are today, right? So this is the future is about mobile cars and things like that. But let's come back to where we are today and how we can, in mechanical workshops, how can we utilise this technology even today to actually make our workshops even better? So I wanted to share with you a little exercise and a little thought process that you guys might find interesting about what it means to make some small changes into your workshop. Because what we talk about here is you don't have to go making drastic and massive changes to the way you work, right? A small change can make a big difference, and I want to just share a little exercise with you. So what I want you to do is maybe just do a mental arithmetic, but how much do you charge an hour? And let's say a typical workshop should be charging, say, $90 an hour, as an example. Typical workshop, how many do you do a day? Let's just pretend for a second you do 10 jobs per day, right? You can do your own mental arithmetic around your own days, okay? What if you reckon you could save, if you were more efficient and you had better technologies, maybe better systems involved, that sort of thing, do you reckon that you could save 5 minutes on each and every job? And I think that that's something that could be achievable. That very, very small change can make a big impact in your workshop. So let's just do some simple mathematics. So 90 times 5 minutes a day. So every minute at $90 an hour is $1.50, yes? So at $7.50, so for 5 minutes, times 10 jobs a day, gives you $75 a day, right? But that might not seem like a lot on a daily basis, but you look at that on a weekly basis, as an example, and then look at it on a yearly basis, right? So a 5 minute saving on each job at $90 an hour equates to nearly $20,000 worth of savings or profit at the end of the day. Who would like a little bit more profit? What could you do with that? Yes? What could you do with that? Maybe a trip to France, wherever you might want to go. That might be fun. Maybe the guys might like a new Harley Davidson. Yes, whatever trips your trigger. But the very simple process can save a lot of money. And I'm going to delve into a little bit of detail on how you might be able to achieve that. So, solutions that allow you to save your time. So I've already actually touched on bank feeds, the integration of system and your streamlined management. So let's just talk about things and how you can actually streamline your workshop. So as an example, nowadays with technology, you can use technological tools where a mechanic can clock on and clock off jobs very, very efficiently, very easily. Now you might think, geez, that's all too hard. It doesn't, I'm a small workshop, it's not really important to me. Is that going to possibly get you 5 minutes more charging if you were actually charging the actual right amount because you knew the actual time that the guy was working? And if you could do it by just the click of a button to clock on and clock off, wouldn't that make a difference to how your workshop operates? The important thing, I had an interesting conversation with someone yesterday, and they were talking about how important it is to do new advertising in my workshop and go out and I need to get a graphic designer to do all these wonderful things, and but I can't afford the money and I can't do this, but it's really important that I have a really great view of what my business looks like in terms of how it's presented to my customers, which is true, right? That's really important. But I think that the first thing that you guys need to look at, if you've not got an amazing customer retention process, then I think that there's a pot of gold waiting in your business for those customers that you currently have in your business to actually go and get them coming back to you potentially more often for more work in an easier and quicker way of making that happen. Right? So if you're not communicating with your customers, see again, going back just a few years ago, those things were difficult. They were maybe costly, they were hard to set up, that sort of thing. Nowadays too, you can have systems that do that for you, for example, with service retention automatically. So customer service, how much is the service worth to you? What would it mean if you got a customer back in, let's say they come every 12 months, 6 months, 12 months, it doesn't matter. But let's say they come in every 12 months. Who here has got every single customer comes back every 12 months, of the customers that come back for service? I can pretty much guarantee you none, right? So they come back after 12, 13 months, after 15 months, after 18 months, they let it go. If you could change it from, let's say it was 13 months to 12 months, right? That's an increase in, do the maths on that, but it's about 8% increase in your business, right? Just by getting them coming back 1 month, instead of it being 13 months, getting them coming back in 12 months. Does that make sense? So things like, being able to do automated service reminders. So this is an example of, or a picture of doing a service reminder. Coming back also to the customer experience, just a little bit of details on new technologies available today where you can win new work. So we've seen the big sort of chain businesses, and a lot of the dealers do this as well. They do check sheets. They do a green, yellow, red sort of scenario, and they use that to win more business. There's actually some stats out of the US about the communication that you have with customers, and if you're providing a direct communication with customers about what's going on and provide them pictures, that there is a vast increase in the take-up of the extra work that needs to be done. And there's an interesting stat, and I'm not absolutely certain about the details, but the more pictures that you provide, the more likely the customer is to return and approve some work. So I want to just share with you a 1-minute video about how this sort of process and what the customer experience is in your workshop and how that might be integrated with your workshop.
Create a new inspection, search for a customer, choose their vehicle, choose the visual check that you want to do, click the boxes, we're going to enter in any issues, anything that needs attention. Finish the inspection, click save. The inspection's now been saved. Click here, email the inspection off to the customer. Enter in the details, click send. The customer will get the email now. In the dashboard, you can see that there's a requested item that you've sent off to your customer. You can jump then into the customer's email, or the customer gets their email, and they then can go off and click on this link. They can see the work, what needs to be done, so they can see what doesn't need to be fixed, what needs to be fixed immediately, and anything that might require attention. The customer simply clicks on the approved work, enters in the verification code, goes into lighting, and they can confirm. Before we do that, we'll jump back into workshop software, go into the requested. One very cool thing, you can see that the customer has actually viewed this particular inspection. So you know that they've looked at it. So we come in here, just go confirm. That work has now been confirmed. Come back into workshop software. You can see that there's this approved work. We can open up the job. We can see that it's been approved. And you'll notice here that the item that needs approved has been noted as being approved. Finalize. Then turn that into a booking or an invoice.
So I wanted to share that with you because that's part of the customer experience. So that might be, it was a 1 minute thing, right? But just to run you through that process, the important part there, in my opinion, is that this is a customer sales tool. It's not a productivity tool. It's not really a tool for the workshop. Yeah, it is. That's an important part. But the most important part of this tool is the ability, and tools like it. There are others available, right? But the process here is the actual communication with the client, right? So the customer has actually gotten an email. That could be on their phone, for example, and that displays perfectly on their phone. That could have had prices in it. You know, there was a lot more to that, but it's not about. It's not necessarily about the tool. It's about the for this, you know, where we are today. It's about the customer experience of now thinking that they have some control over what's actually going on with the work that they're doing, but also the professionalism that you're delivering to that customer as well, which is hugely important. So if they're seeing something where you're doing something like that, where it's showing them what's going on, it's interacting with them, it looks really cool, and it's really easy for them to use, that's a great customer experience. It also gives you a huge control. I think the ability for you to actually see when the guys, actually opened up the inspection is a really important part of the process as well. So from a sales point of view, that's a real opportunity for you to, if for example, if they didn't approve it, you could ring them up, find out what's going on, that sort of stuff. So there are tools available from a customer experience point of view, which is enhancing the customer experience and using technology to help you to win more work. The other side of how we operate and how we can be more effective and more streamlined is integrations, which I touched on earlier on. So I talked about the integration, for example, with, say, accounting packages and stuff like that. What we'll also see is integrations potentially with other things, and other technologies that are available. But as an example, I wanted to bring in, and I'll introduce Jamie in a second, but give you a little bit of an overview of an example of how we're utilising technology in this industry, like what a dealer would have done, or has been doing, to be honest, for probably the last 10 or 20 years. The dealers have had this sort of technology. But now you guys have got access to this technology very, very inexpensively, and very, very easy to use and easy to set up. Again, online, you can run it anywhere, those sorts of things. So first up, what I'm going to show you is I just want to show you, again, a 1 minute video on how this works. And what I want you to just sow a little seed in your mind is think about our 5 minute exercise just before.
Workshop Software's got a direct integration with Repco Navigator Pro. Let's go take a look. First up, we're going to go and create an invoice. Search for a vehicle in an instant, click the button and it creates an invoice. We're going to click the Repco Navigator Pro button, which opens up the Repco Navigator Pro. We integrate with Navigator and also SmartQuote. In this instance, we're going to go and grab a logbook service from SmartQuote. We're going to choose the 70,000 kilometre service, click the button that says Return Quote. That returns all of that information about that quote directly into workshop software. This is all done in real time. So you can see that in 5 seconds, we've literally created a fully fledged quote for a customer or a job, and we can turn this into a job card and print it out for the mechanic, and look at all the efficiency that this creates for your mechanic, knowing exactly what needs to be done and exactly what needs to be checked and replaced and so on. This all comes across with the prices of parts, the right parts, all of that sort of stuff. Think about the efficiency that this creates in your workshop. You do this multiple times a day. How much time is this going to save you every day?
Okay, so that's just in terms of the utilisation of that particular application. That's one part of it. There's a whole lot more to it as well, ordering parts, repair times, and Jamie will touch on that in just a second. But I wanted to show you that because these are the kind of things that you guys can do today, which really does enhance your experience and your professionalism to your customers as well. We have integrated with Repco and with the SmartQuote system for quite some time now, and they've been a great believer in technology and helping out the industry, and that's why I wanted to bring Jamie on stage today and have some input into a little bit about the history of what Repco's done, what the background has been, and I also wanted to just let you know that on yesterday morning at the awards breakfast, this particular application was awarded the most innovative e-commerce solution. Now, this is a really prestigious award for these guys, and and shows the work that they've put in to help the industry to be more efficient and more effective. But Jamie might touch on that a little bit more as well. So, just if you want to give us a little bit of background and tell us a little bit about Repco and what you've done from a technology point of view.
Thanks, James. So look, important in the parts business, we know that we have a lot of transactions with our customers, and we identified this some 9 odd years ago, and we recognised that we need to be more than just your parts provider. We need to be your partner in business and make sure that you can compete with the OEs, because that's our challenge at the end of the day. The OEs are extremely well supported, and we need to ensure we put systems, processes, and be a better business partner with you, our customers. So we did that through the initial launch of the Navigator system. We were the first to launch an online catalogue system integrated with parts and pricing. And we're pleased to say that we continue that investment and we'll continue that into the future, all to make sure that we can actually make our customers more efficient. And we were really pleased with yesterday's acknowledgement, not because our view is that it's the most advanced, although we got the Innovation Award. We got the Innovation Award, in fact, because it's simplicity. We've actually made it so easy to use that I could invite anyone up who has never even used the program, and within 5 or 6 clicks, you can quote your customer confidently, whether it be a logbook service quote or a repair quote. And you're doing that quote based on OE specifications. So no longer do you need to just simply quote an hour for a brake job, because in some brake jobs that might be an hour, but in other instances it in fact might be 2 hours. And that's what our tool helps you identify, that you can quote accurately, confidently, and ensure that you're actually doing the right work. And our tools are designed to do that the most easiest ways, because we know there's lots of information out there, albeit the OEs don't make it easiest to get our hands on. But our role is to make sure we deliver that information in a usable format. And our release of Navigator Pro was another great example of that, acknowledging that we need to go mobile. We need to be tablet friendly. And our customers were asking us for that. You run a very busy workshop and they want the ability to be able to be mobile in that workshop. And you're going to see a lot of things that we're doing with James and our other partners to make sure that we continue to support that. That we give you the ability to run a mobile workshop and to leverage this sort of technology, but importantly in an integrated environment. There is no point having these types of systems and having multiple logins and separate access, and they're not talking to each other. And integration with James's product is a great example of that. When I first took over the technology platform in the Repco business some 3 or 4 years ago, I spent a week out in workshops, and I couldn't believe the amount of manual processes we ask of you as a parts provider, the things that you need to do to actually then sell that part to your customer. It really scared me, it did. So that's when we started this journey to say, well, how do we make it easier to do business with? How do we start to provide that information digitally? And we've got a long way to go. Now that actually excites me. I don't see that as a concern, because we think there's actually a lot more we can do in this space. And we're doing this because we need to support the aftermarket to become more productive so we can remain competitive. So we're all competitive in this industry. So I'm excited about the future. I think we're going to see a lot more investment in this space. I encourage you as business owners to make sure you're making that same investment in your business and in technology, and actually drive that through, whether it be through productivity where there's great opportunities, but also particularly through that customer engagement. At the end of the day, we're in business because we have customers. That's why we're in business, because we have you as our customer. And we need to ensure that we engage you just like you need to do with your customer and improve that experience.
Yeah, cool. And I think that the way that Repco have done this and their embrace of technology was something, when we sort of started working together, 2.5 years ago, was something that I felt was really a great opportunity. I think that they had a great vision and a great attitude to the industry in terms of how you're evolving and how you've created and added things on it during that time. And is it fair to say that that's going to expand in the future as well? And I think that from a technology point of view, it's great that as new technologies become available and as new opportunities become available, that you can get some leverage from those things and create an even simpler experience for talking about customer experience from your point of view to your customers, creating an easier customer experience. And it's fair to say there's actually a couple of things coming, if I can just say that, Jamie, but it's going to make it even easier. So it's been great, the actual integration with Repco and how they've looked at technology and what they've done with their technology sort of offering. So yeah, is there anything more to add to that, or
no, just
future sort of stuff, or you?
But I can't allude to too much other than to say, as I said, there is a huge opportunity for us and for you in your workshops, and we want to continue to support you in that space. So we won't always be the first to market. Repair Times was a great example of that. We weren't the first provider to bring that information to our customers. But when we did do it, we did it the way the customer wanted to see that information. You don't want to go to one system and look for repair information and then have to go and get parts and pricing and availability to be able to quote on that. So when we built our solution, we made sure, yes, the data is available, but integrate it. And we talked about that earlier on. It has to be integrated to make you more efficient, to make the customer experience far more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, great. No. And look, from a thanks, Jamie. That's awesome. Just from a technology point of view and what the things that are available to you guys today, in terms of how you can evolve and create a better experience for your and more efficiencies in your business. There's lots of opportunities around helping the industry, helping us to be more successful collectively. So, for example, what the AAA does, which is really awesome with their, what they've done over the past few years in terms of their, lobbying the government around things like, right to data and things like that has been a really important part of, our industry. But there are also commercial operations available that, for example, provide things like training. There's lots that provide things like, for example, vehicle visuals. If you've seen that, is a customer engagement tool that allows you to talk to your customer and show them a very quick and simple video and again, win more work. There are other organisations in this industry that support the industry as well, and I would suggest and recommend for you guys to embrace those guys, or at least see if it's the right thing for you too. And that will continue, and I think that, with what's going on, I really think that this, like the 3 days and the events that the AAA put on, I think are, second to none in the industry, and in other industries. I was thinking about it a couple of days ago. The size and the the structure of this particular event, 12,000 people coming to it, and the size of how many stands are down there. There aren't that many other industries that do an event like this. So to have a body in the aftermarket, which in fairness, outside of, us in this room or us in this industry, if you mention aftermarket to anyone else out there in the world, they don't know what it is. So for an industry that nobody else really knows what it is, they understand mechanics and that sort of stuff, but aftermarket as an industry, they would be blown away by the size and the what goes on with our industry. And I think that's a really good opportunity for us to think about what the future is going to be like, and that we are in safe hands and that there are people around. Technology isn't something that we need to be scared of. It doesn't need to be something that, things are going to happen with cars and where it's harder to service them and it's harder to, do things in your workshop. That could be potentially true, but the help that you can get and the things that you can do in your workshop, I believe that we've got a really strong industry and it's only going to get stronger in the future. So thanks for your time. I hope that's provided you a little bit of insight into where the future is going and where the future is going with the technology. I wanted to maybe show you a couple of out there things that were not necessarily specific to automotive, just to give you a little bit of a sow the seed in your mind and that sort of thing. Also, have a think about that 5-minute exercise, because, for example, just for integrations like the Repco thing and stuff like that. You were saying, Jamie, about when you released Smart Quote, that the filter sales for cabin air filters spiked up from your suppliers by some percentage.
Yeah, spot on.
Greatly, right?
Cabin air filters was a great example that workshops weren't offering the logbook service quote, and we were missing out on that opportunity, us as a part seller, but importantly you, and offering your customer the right service. And that's what, when we launched Smart Quote, enables us to do. That we saw exponential growth in our cabin sales, which means that our customers were using the product and completing the correct logbook service. And that's just a great example. And Repair Times does the similar process. It allows you to quote confidently that you're offering to your customer the same offering they get at the OEs. And in fact, what I can share with you is that we actually have a lot of the OEs subscribe to this product. Because it covers all makes, they don't have access to that data themselves, so they're relying on us for that same information. So it's a great example of how just some software and information can help you drive revenue and, importantly, service the car the right way for your customer.
And I think it's an interesting thing too, because let's say, for argument's sake, I don't know how much a cabin air filter costs, to be honest, but if you make an extra 10, whatever the dollars are, let's just pretend it's $7.50. The smart ones in the room hopefully realise that if what I've mentioned there is saving 5 minutes, which is worth $7.50, but it can be $7.50 in any way. So if you make an extra $7.50 out of maybe every second, job that you do because you're now selling an extra item, as an example, or you're more streamlined, maybe you've got a more professional offering and maybe you now charge an extra $7.50 for environmental levies or that sort of thing as an extra charge in your workshop. That has got the same outcome as you saving 5 minutes as well. So some of these things, and charging, like you mentioned before, the right time for the right, don't charge an hour, you charge an hour and a quarter. Those sorts of things with these sorts of technologies, help you to be more accurate with those things and potentially help you to actually charge out the right amount and sell the right things. Customers won't say, don't put a cabin air filter into my car if it needs it for a service. So that's just, it might only be a small thing, but it's an important thing. And you do it time and time again. One off, $10 doesn't matter, but do that 1,000 times, 2,000, every single day, multiple times, over a long period of time, it adds up to quite a lot. If you can make a few small incremental improvements to your business, it makes a massive big change over time. So I think that was another really interesting sort of opportunity that's available with the likes of what you were doing there. I thought it was a really interesting stat.
Okay, James, we've got some questions and stuff.
Sure.
You want to go to the stoolies?
We can go to stools.
Yeah, okay, go to stoolies. Okay, all right, so thank you. I've got a couple of questions here. One in particular says here, integration of Repco parts quoting into workshop software I suggest that most workshops don't solely use single part supplier. Can the system be used side by side with a non-Repco parts without exclusive manual processing?
Sure.
And the answer is?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the integration with Repco. You can, buy from anybody.
That's the point.
It's process the invoice and stuff like that. It's not integrated.
So the reality is, this is about AA giving you information to use. The reality is that this guy here's got a great software program called Workshop Software, and these guys have integrated a fantastic program with Repco. However, if you want to be cheap and be nasty, you can go use their system and go and buy the parts from Bursons. That's called a reality, right? Okay? Because this is
They might be disappointed, but they
They'd be disappointed, right? But that's what could happen. So what we're trying to do here is be a realist about this. These guys are here today because they represent, from my perspective, the best. When I was putting all these seminars together, I was looking for the best information we had about what was happening in the industry to make things better for you. And this guy here is innovative with his software. So let's just talk about some of that right now, and we'll just tie it in. Now, what James mentioned just then, we've got a little bit of time, so we're just going to tie in some of the colours.
Sure.
Okay. You saw James put up there some colours. You see the colours, the green, yellow, and the red. You see that? Okay. Let me tell you what that's about. That's a software program that I've developed the base for, and this guy's put the magic into it. He's made it into a software program. What it is this. When the customer comes in, you and I have this problem being a mechanical business, that it's either right or it's wrong, it needs to be fixed or it doesn't need to be fixed. But there are some things that are on the borderline, aren't there? And when you get a car come in that's 15 years old, everybody in this room can find $3 grand's worth of work on it. And it's valid. But we can't get $3 grand because the thing's only worth $2,800. Correct? That's the business, that's the sandpit we play in all day, every day. So we've got to work out what it is. So what we do is we say, green is okay, yellow needs attention soon, and red needs immediate attention. So the customer understands a good old stoplight system. Now, the software program here enables you on an on-demand repair. So a guy rings up, hey, my mates are making noise, I've got a noise in the engine, it's making a noise, it's coughing, it's sputtering, it's doing all those things. They're the questions you get. You say, sure, bring your buzz in here, we'll have a look at it for you, mate. No, we don't say that anymore. What we say is, hey, bring your vehicle in and we'll do a diagnostic on it for you. We've got to start selling diagnostics as a concept of our ability to find out what's wrong with the vehicle, even if it's a mechanical thing. So that's when you say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take it for a test drive, chunk, line. Then we're going to, after we take it for a test drive, we're going to bring it and do a visual of it, see what's wrong with it. Then we're going to put the scan tool on it. At that point, we're going to stop. Now, if it was a brake job and you didn't need the scan tool, we wouldn't put it on, so you brake. You just tell the customer that's what we're going to do. Then what we'll do is report to you. We'll give you a call back and say, on this project we've got to work on right now, we'll tell you what needs to be done about it, and we'll have a look at anything else that needs to be done on the car, and we'll report back. And the customer will say to you, most times, don't worry about it. Just look at my brakes. Is that right? Because what they don't want you to do is what? Find more stuff. So you say, it's okay, it's our responsibility. It's called our duty of care. If we just have a little look, and there's 5 areas on that. You can go to his stand and see his software package. It's brilliant. I've designed it, it must be. Now, you can go and see the package. How it works is in 5 simple areas. What we do is we simply say this. We say, we're going to have a look. So when you ring the customer back, say, you know that problem you said you got, the noise? I've found it's the brakes. I've been to the software package. I know it can allow 1.5 hours. I know I can do it now. And I'm allowed to pick up an extra half an hour because that's my professionalism. I'm allowed to do that. So it's 1.5 hours. I give him the price. I buy some Repco pads, some Repco discs, and I put them on, right? Okay. So then when I put them on, and by the way, I buy the good ones because it stops at a better distance, but that's another story. So I put them on and say, oh, by the way, do to check on your vehicle. Lots of greens, things are okay. A couple of yellow things, we'll put them aside for next time. Don't need to do them today. Could do them, but we won't. 2 other red items that we need to fix. As soon as I say a red item, what does that mean to you? Should be done. So then you tell the customer we'll do that. Then when you give them the car back, you're talking about retention. So let's just go into retention, then we'll come back to what some of these guys are talking about. When it comes to retention, there's 3 things to remember on retention. I'm giving you some of my gold nuggets here, okay? Because we've got a bit of time, right? 3 things to remember on retention. I see people not taking notes because you know what? They think they can remember it all. This lady's got a videoing. Right, okay, so you've got to take notes. You've got to remember these 3 things. So here's the 3 things for retention. There's a whole lot for retention. The programs are important because they drive it for you, but you've got to feed the information in. And you've got to think in those terms. So when you say to the customer retention, there's 3 things, okay, no problem. First thing is, we've got to look at where the vehicle was at, when it needs to come back next time. We've got to think about that. We've got to think also about, was there anything we left aside for next time? All right, so we've got that. And we've got to talk in terms of the oil. And you say, why oil? So you just go drop down box. You just go first, second, third. Okay, we've fixed that. That needs to be done next time. We'll put that aside for next time. What does the customer think when you say we didn't do it today, we put it aside for next time? What's the customer's perception on trust? If I put something aside for next time, I didn't over-service you. Always have 2 yellows. Always have 2 items for next time. Builds the trust. And don't dodge it. Because they soon look at dodging it. So then the next thing you say is, okay, that's that. So we've got that. Then we say oil. What do you mean by oil? Oil's important. Is oil important today? How many of you are doing 2 and 1.5 litre turbos? High compression, right oil, 5K over. Who's had a Captiva? Right? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is you've got to say to the customer, we're experts. Now, by the way, the number of Ks your car's done, how you use it, because you do a lot of stop-start, there's a number of oils that we use, and we only use, because I'm not promoting anybody's today, because they have a specific oil in that 5W30 that's ideal for your vehicle for stop-start driving, so it makes your engine last longer. I've made a note in the computer. Then you say, and because of the number of Ks you do and how you use the vehicle and the condition it's in, so number of Ks you do, how you use the vehicle, the condition it's in, I'm going to make your service reminder 8 months. It doesn't need to come back in 6. Or it's 12, but it's no longer than 12. Who's trying to make it longer than 12? OE. Why are they trying to make it longer than 12? To keep the price down. Not because they should. So we've got to be honest with the customer and say, your car's number of Ks, this is what it needs to do. So we say, okay, so your reminder will come out 8 months. Then on the service sticker, don't put the Ks, just put reminder will be sent in September. Okay? Then the customer drives down the road, looks up there, they drive past a competitor, I don't know, that guy said September, I'll go back in September. And that guy didn't rip me off because he had some yellows. Or because you used a little simple software program this guy's got, use this guy's quoting program because you get the right price for the item, and you send a reminder that was ideal timed for the customer's usage. That's the world we've got to go into. That's where we've got to get to the communication with our customer if we want to keep the customers. If we want to just do things standard and treat them as standard, who treats them as standard? OE. Who treats them like a number? OE. Who has to treat them absolutely based on their circumstances and use? We do. And that's how we're going to beat it. Now, somebody just sent me a text then and said about the ARCA, which is the Automotive Repair Council of Australia. I got it right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, that council, by the way, there's some forms there for you to have a look at, sign up if you want to. This is the group of people who are working hard to get us the data, get us the information, and get us the opportunities to keep working on the vehicles. These guys talk about technology. They're just scraping the surface today. Would that be right?
Absolutely.
We could talk all day about it.
We can talk all day about technology. Technology is here. But why I wanted to have this program here today is because it's the forgotten part. The technology that we think about all day, every day, is that bloody scan tool, and does it give us the information? There's a friggin' code there. The code simply tells you what's wrong. It doesn't tell me where it's wrong. You know how those codes work, don't you? They're there to confuse you, send you on a bad track, aren't they? Right? You know how that works, don't you? It's like a mine. What happens is this. The car's driving down the road, and all's fine. Then there's a little spring in the cap, radiator cap, that decides that when Mr. Wong made it, in Ding Dong Woo, right, he didn't quite put the right bit of stuff in it, and it's got weak. So that's meant that it hasn't got the pressure, so the temperature's gone up. So what happens is the little sensor says to the CAN bus system, hey, guys, I'm getting a bit hot up here, anybody help me out? And the guy over here in the air conditioner says, mate, I can turn off. He says, well, can you turn off? And the guy says, mate, if I do, when I go in there, the technician will go, it'll be shit, mate, the air conditioner's not working. He'll spend an hour trying to diagnose it. Stuff him, I don't want to blow the engine up. I'm turning off. That's what happens. The friggin' parts talk to each other. Then you drive the vehicle in. Hey, John, check the air conditioner. What's John do? Drives her in, lifts the bonnet. Oh, belts are okay. Gas is all right. Must be thermostat. Goes inside, looks at the thermostat. Right? Then he puts the scan tool on. Fault code. It's overheating. Air conditioner's not working. Is that what we do? Is that what we're dealing with all day, every day? Does the customer know that? We've got to start to understand that we customers got to be told this is what we're doing. This is how the parts talk to each other. And then we got to, in the background, we got to be talking to the customer via our materials, and we've got to be charging out. How much time do you give away that you're not charging out in diagnostic time? How much time do you give away because they didn't clock on? And they didn't score it at clock on. I guarantee you 65% is maximum most workshops get. About that? 65. What do dealers get? 100, 110. Scary stuff. Do they actually do the work? Don't know, right? But, okay, don't know, right? So we were in for a heck of a time. We were in for a heck of a time. And here's the next thing we're in for, and this is why you've got to start worrying about this. Toyota 86. Buys a car, loves the car. $138 service 3 times over 3 years. He reckons this is pretty cool. Hits the 3 years, rings up the dealer for next service. How much is the service? $480. He goes, jolly heck, $480, or words to that effect. Right? Then he rings up aftermarket us, and what do we say? We go to our system, we download, we work out what we can do, what oil's needed. We probably need $130 worth of oil. That's what he's used to, though. So you tell him it's $380. He goes, gee whiz, it's pretty expensive. Do you have an answer for the customer? You have? You thought about what you say, exactly what you say? You can't say, mate, they've been screwing you for the last 3 years by ripping you off in the first place and the manufacturer's been paying the money under the counter. You can't say that. What you can say is, that's their marketing. And they've been putting the money aside. That's their right to do so. The reality is that now you have to pay for your services, but we can do it better and it's spelled on for you with the right oils, the right technology, the right knowledge, because we've got all the access. So you've got to give the customer the confidence, because otherwise where are they going to run back to? So we've got to work harder with all of our technology, with all of our thinking, to stay ahead of the pack. Okay, I haven't got any buzzers in my pocket, which means I haven't got any more messages. Guys, you got anything to add to that?
Sorry, put me on the spot. It's look, technology. If I'm going to summarise, is just it's simple is the important thing. It doesn't have to be hard anymore. That's, I think, the important thing, right? 10 years ago it was hard. Today it's not hard. You know, you can be, for example, up and running in 1 minute. You know, you can hook up to these things very, very simply. You can, get access to it really, really easily. So technology, you can use it to your advantage, and it can help your workshop.
So what we suggest you do is this. Go to the stand, which is number...
aisle 05.
0505. Have a look at the software. Have a look at the colour software, sorry.
It's just 05, but aisle O.
Oh, in the book it looks like 005, doesn't it? It's Peter Brock. It's Peter Brock, right? Okay. Okay, so go to the stand, talk to these guys and have a look. And then go to everybody else's stands and have a look. Now, these guys are our sponsors, Automate, Workshop Whisperer. Let's just talk about Automate for a second. They have got modules in there. When I was in New Zealand the other week working with Auto Super Shop here today? No? Okay, working with them, I was just amazed at the brilliant way they think about their staff and how they keep them. And one guy's got 2 apprentices, and every day they rotate the apprentices. Immediately after morning tea, they go and they do an Automate module. And you sign off on it. And they select the module they want to do. He then goes and looks at the modules, sees what they're interested in, and then motivates them around that. How easy is that?
Some people might not know what Automate do.
Thank you. I didn't realise that. If you don't know what Automate do, look them up in your book and go and see it. Okay, Automate is training video modules which are certified. In other words, you do it, you tick off and you get certified. Very, very great system. So all I'm saying here is that we have to come to these conferences, these expos, and say, how do we get something out of it we take back? So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, we've got just 5 minutes or so, is just to consider writing down what are you going to take away from today that you're going to put action to. Just write it down, quickly, right now. Just get a moment or two. If you haven't got anything out of this session with these guys, I'll be surprised. If it is, bloody hell, technology, right? Then you're going to put your business on the market tomorrow. Because we can't change the world, it's rolling in. That's what technology is going to happen, right? I said that to a guy recently, he said, I don't want it. I said, well, how long do you want to stick around? He said, 2-3 years. I said, yeah, just make it. You'll be on shit boxes. You in low-priced cars in a little while. But that's just the reality. That's where we're at. Okay, quickly. What did you write down? What's the first thing you're going to do?
I wrote it down before.
Hey, he's prepared. You wrote it down before.
The SmartLink thing and the automotive software system. And I'm the Ultra team. So they have a system which is quite old.
Yes.
But I'm very interested in this direct people stuff.
Excellent. Well, go and see Jamie and James.
Yep.
Right, James and Jamie, and go and have a look, because we can actually tie that in. We can make that work. All right, somebody else got something, please. Who'd you have, please? He says, I shouldn't have sat in the front.
Mainly the customer reminders.
The customer?
Reminders.
Customer reminders, yeah. On time, appropriate, and tell them at the point of exit. By the way, when I've just driven my car in, and it's sort of like it was okay and it needed a service, like a birthday, and you said to me, oh, is there anything else? Yeah, it's got a bit of a noise. And you've done all the work, you've fixed it, it's $500. And I drive down the road after spending $500. How am I feeling at that moment? Most people. I've had $500 ripped out of my pocket that I wish I didn't have to spend. There's not many nutcases like me that get excited about having their car serviced. There's not many people that buy tyres by the smell. Okay? So there's not many of us out there. So most people walk away and go, damn, I spent $500. At that time, as they drive down the road, you know what they're thinking? It's called buyer's remorse. Should have I spent the $500? Did they rip me off? Should I get it cheaper somewhere else next time? That's what they're thinking. You know why? Because we let them think that. You've got to leave with the three things. I didn't do anything that wasn't needed to be done. I only did what was needed to be done. And I've got your service reminder based on your actual use and application. Then I go down the road thinking, good guys. You know what the sad thing is? You can be lovely. You can do everything right by them. You can even cut the price down a bit, give them a bit away. You can put a flower on the back seat. You can put a little smelly thing in the car. You can wash the windows and vacuum the whole thing. But if you don't do anything that they see as added value for them personally, they see it as added on, and somebody must be paying for it anyhow, and they go somewhere else next time. And you go, that's not fair, because I did the right thing. But it's not about that anymore. It's about when you get the information and you email it and you send it, and they go, wow, and they can see a picture and they can see what it is, and you've managed to work out how long it's going to be, and you've done it all together. That's when you buy the customer into you. And that's what we're trying to do.
Even a service reminder as a letter or email, SMS, it's a trust thing. You're building the trust.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And you know, but if you have an SMS reminder and you put words in yourself, here's the first word you put in it. Okay? As promised, service reminder. So for the first thing I read when a text comes up and it says, as promised, what do? I think I'm on the promise. No. I think, as promised, right? What do I think? Somebody's promised to do something for me and they've done it. Got it? Simple words. Hey, you got a whole lot of this stuff for nothing. No, you didn't. You came here today to learn and to get information. I hope you put it into practice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Would you please thank James?
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Jamie from Repco.